You are welcome to the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners on this March 8th, 2022 to partake in our county administrators' issues and updates. Gary, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Smith. And we will start with the board meeting as the Housing Authority of Clackamas County. Chair, if you would please read that announcement.
I will now recess as a Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Housing Authority Board of Clackamas County. Do we have any additions attending this, Gary?
Yes, so Shannon, if you please bring in Rod Cook and Tony Carter. And while that's happening, I'll introduce the item, Chair, if that's okay.
And do we have another board member that's
going my apologies. Is Housing Commissioner Ann Leenstra here, Shannon?
He is not.
I don't see her in the room. Yes, my apologies, Chair. Yes,
Housing
Leenstra is not present. Our staff presenters are Rod Cook and Tony Carter. And at least I see Rod. So we'll start. So Commissioners, this is a request for a public hearing for the Housing Authority of Clackamas County's annual 5-year plan. Rod Cook is the Director of Health, Housing, and Human Services. Tony Carter is the Interim Director of the Housing Authority of Clackamas County. There was a memo in your packet. Rod or Tony, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll get us started. Hand it over to Tony. So good morning, Commissioners. The item we have for you today is a request to hold a hearing on the Housing Authority's 5-year plan. The plan will guide the direction of the Housing Authority's work for the next 5 years. Tony Carter is Interim Director. She's here to give you more detail on the process and to answer any additional questions you might have today. Tony, you're up.
Good morning, Commissioners. HUD requires all public housing authorities to complete an annual plan every year and a 5-year plan every 5 years. This is the lucky year we get to do both, the annual plan and the 5-year plan. The purpose of the plans is to provide accountability and transparency of the housing authority's operations to the community, the board, and to HUD. Today, we are here to give public notification and get a confirmation by the board that there will be a public hearing on March 24th, 2022 for the Housing Authority's 5-year and annual plan. These plans will go into effect on July 1st, 2022. This public hearing is necessary to allow the Housing Authority to meet submission requirements set by HUD. Failure to meet the requirement and deadlines would be a major finding by HUD and put our funding in jeopardy. This hearing was noticed to the public in the Oregonian on January 2nd, 2022, and all Housing Authority residents were notified in our quarterly newsletter. And a notification is being updated on our website. The Resident Advisory Board, which is made up of public housing and housing choice voucher participants, was briefed on the entire contents of both plans on January 11th, and their comments are included in the draft plans that have been submitted to you. Draft plans are available on the Housing Authority website, and physical copies have also been made available for public review since mid-January. The Housing Authority can only carry out activities funded by federal dollars, as stated in the annual and 5-year plan. Any significant deviation in activity by the Housing Authority from what is stated in the plans would require an amendment to one or both plans, approval by our board, and HUD approval. At the public hearing, HACC will give the board its own opportunity to make public comments on the plans. At the public hearing, HACC will present the highlights of the plan. And if you want some highlights now, I can give those to you, or we can wait until the public hearing on March 24th. Any questions?
You're on mute, Chair.
Sorry, questions from commissioners on this? And any other comments from staff?
So we just need confirmation that you're prepared to have a public hearing.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Commissioner Savas, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you, Tony, for your presentation. Look forward to actually sitting down with you and get to know you more and learn more about your outlook for the Housing Authority. I'm just curious on how much citizen involvement there has been on developing the plan. We're members of the community that we serve, the Housing Authority serves, specifically the low-income community members? Were they involved in crafting this plan?
Yes, they were. On January 11th, we met with what's called our Resident Advisory Board. And it consists of about 28 members of the actual participants in our programs. And we went over page by page, line by line, some of the policy changes and recommendations we're making towards development. And they made their comments, and basically, I can give you in summary, they approved of everything that we're recommending.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So that's really important that we do that.
Absolutely.
And Gary, what's our action now?
Oh, sorry, just to approve going forward with a public hearing on March 24th, 2022.
And we do that during executive session.
No, this will
No,
be,
we do that now, yeah. I'll entertain a motion. I will entertain a motion for my commissioners to move forward with this.
I move that we schedule a public hearing on 24 March to discuss the Housing Authority Board of County Commissioners, the Housing Board 5-year plan.
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Scholl to have a hearing on the 5-year Housing Authority plan, seconded by Commissioner Savas. Any further discussions or comments? Hearing none. Chairman?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Chair, I'll reserve all my comments and so forth for the 24th.
Okay, good. Thank you, Paul. Shannon, please call the poll.
Commissioner Fischer,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Tony Carter and Rodney Cook.
Thank you.
thank you. Chair Smith, if you now will announce the board will be meeting as the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District.
I can do that. I will now adjourn as a Housing Authority Board and convene as the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Board. Gary, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Smith. Commissioner Director Savas, as the board director, Commissioner Savas has asked that wanted to discuss the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District public records. Go ahead, please, Commissioner.
Yeah, Chair and colleagues, I just want to let you know that I've been attending and have attended virtually every meeting of the Concord Task Force over the last several years. And when we were presented with some information in November of last year, which turned out to be somewhat inaccurate, it led the board to stall off, so to speak, the Concord project and study it further. And out of that situation, we've learned more about the financials of the district. And what's come to the surface, especially recently, as late as last Thursday evening, for example, it's not the first time, but for example, a number of the citizens have asked, well, what happened? We had financing and funding. We know that there was some inflationary things. I'm paraphrasing, and essentially, why is there a $20 million gap? The gap in inflation wasn't $20 million. So what I have asked staff to do, and Administrator Schmidt is aware of that, what I've asked staff to do for several weeks, I won't say months, but several weeks, is to generate or distribute out at least the financial plan that was in place a couple of years ago, and to bring that out as the financing plan, which really would explain a lot of that. So really, I made a formal request. Administrator Schmidt's aware of that, and all staff was able to produce, NCPRD staff apparently, was able to produce was a file that was categorized at executive session. However, some of the documents that were a result of that or an outcome of that were the actual public documents. And I've asked to have that in all the meetings of that particular year, or 2019, but 2018 and 2019, to be made to the public. And at least there is a meeting, at least one, actually several, but one significant one, and several other meetings that are not even on the NCPRD website or on the county website. So between the meetings that are unavailable to the public, and the documents in particular that are unavailable to the public. I've asked staff to please either produce the documents or produce the plan that financed really the Concord project, not on the library side, but on the NCPRD side. So I just want to let you know I've made that request. I would really like staff, they produce the documents. It should be in the hard drive somewhere, but I would really like to see those documents put forth because the citizens are asking for it and they deserve it.
And Gary, has that request, your hand is up, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chair and Commissioner Savas. Yes, staff is aware of your request. They've been working on it. They provided some of the information you provided, not all of it. We are still compiling all that data. We will have it for you, for the board. We'll share it with the public. There's no intent to hide anything. It's a lot of data, a lot of information. A lot of staff that worked on that prior don't work here anymore. But yes, we are collecting all of this information and we'll have it for the board and for the public to view.
Appreciate that, Gary. I'm making the request because the formal request I made was several weeks ago, and it just seems like it's taken a long time. I don't know why. I know we have some really good IT people that should be able to find the hard drives and develop those documents that they distributed publicly. And that's not happened, and especially the meetings as well. So I've shared that. It's been a little bit frustrating. I think, frankly, the concern about the Concord project and these questions are just creating some anxiety. And there was several people at the task force meeting that requested those financials.
Yes.
That was Thursday.
Thursday night. That's correct. And before, this is not the first time. This is again, it's kind of, it just has taken a little bit too long, I believe, in my opinion. Thank you.
Well,
that's all I have.
Yeah, you asked for documents from 2018 and 19, and Paul, and I don't know which documents those are. I don't have to know for your request to be addressed. But I will say that, there's some folks, we might be short-staffed in some areas. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt for them to try to complete your request as best they can. And then I assume you want to come back and have another discussion?
Yeah, I think the board needs to know that there was a plan in place to finance the Concord project. And despite what was shared in November, the finances of NCPRD are more than fine. They're more than adequate. There's substantial monies in their account and funds. So I just think that we ought to be really discussing that now prior to the budget, because if we're in a budget for this project, I believe the means of funding this project are there. But we need good information to make those decisions. And I don't want this to drag out much longer because the budget planning is before us now. And it's imperative we get this done.
Thank you, Paul. And your request has been heard. And I want to thank you for doing that. And Gary, thank you and staff for complying. What's up next?
All right. Thank you, Commissioner and Chair. Chair Smith, would you now reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners?
Yes, I will now adjourn as the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District and convene as the Board of Clackamas County Commissioners. Gary, what's up next?
Chair Smith, we will start with the consent agenda requests. And Shannon, would you please bring in Carol Hopkins from the clerk's office? And the first item will be the clerk's office records management. We'll wait a second for Carol to join. Carol, are you there? Yes, there you are. Hello, Carol. Carol is a records manager in the Clackamas County Clerk's Office. This consent request is for records management, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Multnomah County for the digitization of their county's archival film. The total agreement value is $3 million, funded by Multnomah County for services provided by the Clackamas County Records Management Team. No county general funds are involved. Carol, could you give a little bit more background, please, on this?
Good morning. Thank you for hearing me. Yes, we are looking for an approval to get into an intergovernmental agreement with Multnomah County. Multnomah County has several hundred old archival rolls of film, and records management here at the county has the ability to digitize those images for them and enhance them so they are better able to distribute those to whomever would like to view them on their site. We have a machine here, it's called a Flex Scan. We can roll those old films through there and they can extract those images off of their film. It's completely funded by Multnomah County, which is nice. It doesn't touch our general fund, and it is just a good revenue generating factor for the county.
Well, it sounds great to me. Commissioners, do we have any questions or comments for the presenter? Hearing no objections, thank you. Move forward.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Carol, may I ask you, how long is this agreement? How many years is this for?
It is a 10-year agreement, and then after that 10-year span, we can move into 5-year increments.
Great. So it's $3 million over 10 years. Is that
Yes.
correct? Got it. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Carol. Next, Shannon, would you please bring in Nate Boderman from County Council? We'll pause a moment, please, for Nate. Hello, Nate. Nate is Assistant County Counsel. This is consent agenda request for County Council. Item 1, approval of a board order D9, file ZO208-21 CP, a comprehensive plan amendment proposed by Mission Teens Incorporated, Northwest Bible Training Center. Go ahead, Nate.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm back. So these are the two items, this item and the item to be presented next are the exact same items that we discussed last week at issues. The reason I'm back is because with only 4 commissioners, it was apparent that we were going to have a 2-2 vote. And so we went ahead and kicked these items off until this week, until we had the full 5-member board to consider them. So the first item is an item to adopt an order of denial related to the application for comprehensive plan change proposed by Mission Teens in Northwest Bible Training Center on property located at 23172 South Blum Road. So since we did discuss this last week, I won't go into details. However, I will say this is a good opportunity to clarify that the vote on this particular item was in fact 3-1. So thank you to Commissioner Savas for clarifying that. The materials correctly captured that vote. I just misread it in my presentation last week. So the vote was in fact 3-1. And again, since we covered this item last week, perhaps I can make just a quick clarification on process related to these requests. Our process for land use applications considered by the board for at least as long as I've been here has been to have the Board of County Commissioners hold a public hearing and then render an oral decision at the conclusion of that hearing. So a process that you're all familiar with. What staff then does is to follow up that oral decision with a form of order that captures the decision along with the findings, providing the legal justification for the decision. So since staff doesn't want to adopt a form of order without having your review, that's how we get to the point in the process where we're at today. And when we come to you, we're not asking you to render another decision or to reconstitute your vote, but really to review the form of order and findings to ensure that they accurately reflect and represent the prior decision. So in this way, it's somewhat like approving minutes from prior meetings in the sense that approving the minutes doesn't mean that you voted yes on everything that happened at that prior meeting. But we do try to be clear in the orders that we draft for you to note how the Planning Commission and the board voted on these applications. So again, even if you vote yes to approve the form of order, it should be clear from the record what your vote on the underlying application actually was. So if there's anything we could be doing in the order or materials to make that vote more clear, certainly happy to do that. Most of the time this isn't a problem since the majority vote carries through and the order is approved. But we have had instances in the past, including last week, where a different composition of the board creates an issue and delay. So I suspect this was because of a misunderstanding perhaps in the process. So thank you again for just allowing me a quick minute to clarify what we intend by a yes vote on the form of order to actually move. So with that, happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Nate's pretty well captured everything correctly. The discussion last week, I don't think was a matter of the substance of the decision at all. It was more that there was an error in the vote count. And I just expressed that because I was not available to attend the second hearing, I thought it was more proper that I recuse myself. So it would not have been a no vote from me then or on this Thursday. It'll be more of me recusing myself from the vote because I was absent for that second hearing. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Gary, point of clarification, what are we doing on this?
So all you're doing today is approving this item to go to this Thursday's business meeting consent agenda, where you will formally vote there.
Okay, so a yes vote is affirming a prior decision that we made. We are not restating our positions, correct?
Yes.
Any other comments for commissioners on this? I will entertain a motion.
I'm sorry, no motion necessary, Chair. We're just head nod to put to consent agenda for this Thursday.
I beg your pardon, I got off on this. Yeah, we have a head nod from Mark. I'm okay, Martha's okay.
Yeah.
Paul, you're abstaining, correct? Okay. So we have three. I assume Sonia's okay, but I shouldn't speak for you. You
Right.
have it come up. Great, thank you very much. Alrighty.
Item 2 from County Council, it's part of what Nate just explained as well. Approval of a board order previously approved comprehensive plan amendment and zone map amendment proposed by Melva Murphy and the file numbers. Go ahead, Nate.
So just as Gary said, this item's to adopt an order of approval related to an application for comprehensive plan and zone change proposed by Melba Murphy on property located in the Damascus area on Southeast Borges Road. So the board did hold public hearings on both September 15th, 2021, or held a public hearing, I should say, on September 2021, and voted 3-2 in favor of approving the application. So this is just approving that form of order and findings as I previously described.
Thank you. Any questions or objections to this going forward? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nate. So again, these are just going to this Thursday's business meeting. That's where you will formally vote at this Thursday's business meeting. Okay, thank you, Nate. And next, Shannon, would you please bring in, I believe it's Nancy Artman from the Sheriff's Office. And we'll wait a moment, please. Hello, welcome. Nancy Artman is the Finance Manager in the Sheriff's Office. This is consent agenda request for the Sheriff's Office. Item 1, approval of a board order approving an agreement with Axon Enterprise for the purchase of 150 in-vehicle cameras, licenses, accessories, data storage, and installation for use by the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office. Total contract value is $1,554,688.82. Funded through county general funds, public safety operating levy, and enhanced law enforcement district funds. Nancy, go ahead, please.
Good morning. Thank you. Yes, as Administrator Schmidt mentioned, this is a request for new camera systems. I beg your pardon. I'd like to note that we are doing some heating and AC work. So if you hear machinery in the background, my apologies. This would replace an aging system that is getting to the point of no longer being able to be maintained. This would be a fully integrated system. The cost would include storage, software services, accessories, everything we need for the systems. There would be no additional county general funds required. We'll be able to make this purchase within our appropriation. We also believe that there will be a cost savings overall during the course of this 5-year contract. Pending advertisement, this purchase will be made using a cooperative agreement through Sourcewell.
Any comments or objections to this proposal?
So I just have a question, Chair. Nancy, if you could, maybe I just love to see a breakdown of that cost, because if I did the math correctly, and maybe I did it wrong, but it comes out to about $10,000 a car for the camera. if I did the math correctly. I'd just like to see a breakdown of that, of how those costs are, what's labor, what's the camera, and so forth. I support it. Just want to make sure perfectly clear that I think maybe, I know what I've learned about these new cameras are they are really state of the art, made by the same company that the body cams are, and have some incorporations that make sure that the cameras are live at the right time. So I think it's money well spent, but I certainly want to make sure that get a better idea of why it's $10,000 a car.
Absolutely. My team has actually prepared that information, anticipating we might receive that request. So I'm happy to email that out to everyone in advance of Thursday's meeting. And also, Commissioner, you are spot on about the technology and how it integrates.
Yep.
And so, Gary, we're going to consider this Thursday's meeting.
Yes, correct.
Okay, good. So please send that. Any objections or to this moving forward? Seeing none. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. One more item from the Sheriff's Office. Item 2, approval of a resolution delegating authority to the county administrator to accept a previously approved grant award, Board Order 2021-80, through the United States Department of Justice, Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, Just Grants online portal. Go ahead, please, Nancy.
Thank you. On November 4th, the board approved CCSO to move forward to accept this grant award. You may recall that this is for enhancing our behavioral health program here at the Sheriff's Office. We went ahead and did that, as did County Finance, but then later learned from the Department of Justice that it also required the executive of the county to accept the grant in the system. What this board order before you proposes is that you delegate limited authority to the county administrator to register within the system and to do all the appropriate work necessary to receive the grant. And if there is something further in terms of conditions that come along, that he would also have the authority to accept those terms and conditions in the future specific to this grant.
Okay, what was the amount of this one?
Well, that is a very good question, Commissioner. I don't know that I have that data before me.
Okay, you can supply it later. Gary, your hand is up.
Actually, I recall it was like 25,000. It was kind of a smaller amount.
That's fine. That's fine. Any objections for this moving forward? Seeing none. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. So, thank you, Nancy. So commissioners, all of these items today you discussed will go on this Thursday's consent agenda, business meeting consent agenda. Okay, thank you. Next on the list, we have board town hall topics. Shannon, would you please bring in Dylan Blaylock? Commissioners, we've had to bump this item for several weeks. My apologies, but we're here to seek your input on your next board town hall topic. But we'll wait for Dylan to come in the room, please.
All right.
All right, Dylan Blaylock is from Public and Government Affairs. Go ahead, please, Dylan.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and County Administrator Schmidt. I am Dylan Blaylock with Public and Government Affairs, and today I seek the board's direction on the topic for the upcoming quarterly town hall. That will take place on the evening of Wednesday, April 6th. The memo in your packet details 6 different ideas for topics, and the topics tend to closely match the board's 10 codified strategic goals per performance Clackamas. I won't go into details with each one, as you do have those in your packet, but the 6 listed topics are Clacko Listens, experiences with homelessness and housing affordability, farming in Clacko, helping the next generation, Clacko's role in public safety, supportive housing services, supporting our businesses, and the I-205 tolling and regional mobility pricing project, part 2. So just to reiterate, as always, PJ is open to other topic ideas as well, and we'll produce an event on any topic given board direction. But with that, I seek your guidance. Thank you.
And Dylan, we are not having a town hall in March because we just haven't made a decision. Topic, is that it?
There were just some delays, Chair. That is right. This is going to take place of the March one. So we'll get back to, once we do this one in April, we'll just get back to the normal schedule of June, September, and December, I think it is.
Well, I'm just going to make some comments on this because, board, I added the top 3 topics for discussion, but I also did say that we could revisit tolling when the time was right to do so. And I do think that is just uber important. I don't have a crystal ball on when we should have a town hall related to when the OTC or ODOT is going to be making a decision on tolling. I do think it needs to be timely, but maybe we could wait till May or June to do that one. I'm just throwing stuff out, just for thought, for consideration. And the reason I wanted to do homelessness, and my topic was, what is the cause of homelessness? And that is not a discussion that we have had. We think that we're going to supply housing and respite and this and this and this. And I would really like for us to listen to what the community thinks is the cause of homelessness and address the issue from that point of view, because we have not taken a lot of time to do that. And maybe you've had discussions with your community people. I know I have, and it is a hot topic, but maybe we could take a look at homelessness through that lens. And then about 14 months ago, we had a new goal, and that was farming. And we have made absolutely no progress whatsoever on farming. And I do believe our staff is stuck on that. So I think it's very timely, in light of what's going on in world affairs right now, that we are able to produce our own food and at least try to feed our own selves. And that is as basic as it gets. So that's why I wanted to tee that up. And quite frankly, it's a departure from all the other really hard stuff that we've been talking about too. And then public safety. There was a recent poll that came out from the district attorneys across the state of Oregon, did a statewide poll, very comprehensive. And the support for public safety is astounding in this state. And so I would like to discuss on what the citizens think our role is in Clackamas County's role in public safety. Now, those are just some of my thoughts, but you folks, I would like to hear from all my commissioners on this. And Paul, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Well, you must have read my mind. I agree with your points, and even down to the crystal ball, which is the word I was going to use, because when we last discussed this, we didn't have the crystal ball to know exactly where we would be on this tolling issue. And I think it is, we're at a critical juncture. We'll be discussing that tomorrow in more detail with staff. If I had a crystal ball, or could turn the clock back, it'd be nice to turn it back a week or two and have it, have this discussion last week to help us through our discussion tomorrow. But I just want to put right up on top, I think that the tolling discussion is going to be more timely to do it as soon as possible than it would be at any other time I see in the near future. So I would put that at the top. Thank you.
One vote for top. And then as far as you're concerned, the other issues, when we can get them scheduled?
Yeah, I think your priority on all those were good. The only thing I would say, Chair, thanks for the opportunity there to just expand a little bit. I say the only thing that I would love a discussion on the causes of homelessness. And what I have learned is that it's extremely complicated and takes a lot of time because then there's no really one answer, but it might be interesting to hear what people's thoughts are, what they think. It's really what town halls are about. What do people think? Mm-hmm. So either way, but just want to just say that that's a broad topic, and maybe if we do that one, let's allow maybe a little bit more time than we normally would.
Okay, that's a thought. Commissioner Scholl, your hand is up.
Yes, I like the idea of a hybrid town hall talking about homelessness and supportive housing and how they connect together. We have coming up in the next couple months a decision on the RTEP amendments. I don't know, Paul, if you think that should come before a tolling town hall, but we do have a lot going on with supportive housing right now, and homelessness is a huge growing problem. And we did have a town hall just a few months ago on tolling. So I like the idea of a hybrid homelessness supportive housing town hall.
And we need to address, Commissioner Shaw, I believe, Commissioners, the cause of homelessness. And I just think we'd be so much further ahead, in our identification. We all assume that we know the cause of homelessness. But this is a great opportunity, I think, to let the community members vent on this issue. Commissioner Fischer, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you. I think what Commissioner Schultz says is well taken, and it is a really important topic. I have had the wonderful experience of learning a lot from our staff and community on the causes of homelessness, and there is a lot of data. I don't know when the results of the homeless count will be available. Gary, do you know? Because that gives us information as to Clackamas County specific causes of homelessness. So if we do a town hall, I think accompanying that with information is critical. I can tell you anecdotally, and I don't have science to back me, but anecdotally, things have changed during COVID, and there are trends that are happening, and getting more information about that would be useful. So I would prefer something as to best thinking, some information sharing, and then hearing from our community.
Yeah, you mentioned the homeless count. That is important. That's really important. We could probably start on that particular town hall on that presentation, and then delve into, because we're going to hear, I think, a lot from our community on that. The survey that I talked about on public safety, I think the results of enhanced public safety across the board is because the homeless situation is such in dire straits right now, and people perceive that as a threat. And so whether justified or not, that's just what they do. That's the way people react. Martha, your hand is up. Martha, you're on mute, thanks.
So when was our last, Gary, when was our last time and count done?
I'm sorry, I don't have that right in front of me, and I've not remembered.
So I think it's every 2 years, but I don't recall, and I'm just kind of wondering.
But we'll get.
Yeah, it was just completed not that long ago. I don't know how long it takes for the results.
Oh, okay. Usually they let the commissioners know it's going on so we can participate.
No,
we didn't hear it this time, so.
I just knew from the committees that I'm on, but yeah.
Usually social services lets us know so we can help out with that. So let's just make sure that next time we get more of a heads up as a commission. Thanks.
Who haven't we heard from? Okay, we've heard from everybody. Well, commissioners, let's take a quick little poll on the April 6th town hall. What topic do we want to do? Since we don't have the homeless count yet, let's put that off, right? We have public safety, we have farming, we have tolling.
I vote for public safety and then farming, unless tolling and timeliness trumps that. But I think doing the farming is really important. But I really agree with you, Chair Smith. Public safety is really important for us to really listen from our constituents about that issue.
Yeah, I can go either way, folks. I don't want to miss an opportunity. For instance, if decisions are made on tolling, we want to be able to react quickly. But this April 6th town hall is scheduled for 4 months out. 4 weeks out, excuse me. Paul, your hand is up.
Yeah, I don't think tolling will be a timely discussion if we hold it off much longer. So I think the timeliness it's probably now or soon, right? But I think if we wait 3 or 4 months from now to talk about tolling, I think that ship will already be sailed. And I think there'll be a lot of unhappy campers, perhaps. But that'll be after the fact. And I think people would have expected us, why didn't we do this sooner? So I just feel that from a timeliness standpoint, they're all great. I'd love to have a conversation on public safety, but there's nothing more to Commissioner Schultz's question. Decisions around are going to be made here in the next couple of months are going to be critical, including 2 weeks from now.
Okay, Paul, you've been heard. Mark, your hand is up.
Yes, if we can't do a homeless supportive housing hybrid, I would concur with Paul that tolling is the most pressing topic, and we should do that.
Sonia?
Okay, so if we need input for a decision point, when is that now? Is it the end of April? I mean, the end of March? Is that what I'm remembering when we will be weighing in on this? I'm looking to Paul to shake his head yes or no.
Oh, on the tolling issue?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will, for the April JPAC meeting will be the third week in April. And that'll be the next critical juncture following this one for this month. So that would be timely if we did it in April 6th. So we would be in a week or two in advance.
So yeah, we should do that because if that's the timeline.
I don't have a problem with that, Commissioner. So do we have consensus on the April 6th town hall to revisit tolling? Can we come up with kind of a sassy name for this, Dylan?
Can do my best.
Okay.
That's no problem.
Maybe commissioners, you can help Dylan on that.
Yeah, and Chair Smith, I think we need a strategy going into that as we hear from our constituents. I think we are all aligned with our constituents. We know it. They're thinking, but we need to utilize that to propel us forward so that we have more strength in our position.
And we had great media coverage the last time we did this. And so if, Paul's timeline is right on, there will be a decision made and we will be able to react to that. And I do like being positioned for that. Dylan, your hand is up.
Yes, very good. I guess if I'm hearing the consensus on tolling, is it something where you wanted guests similar to what we did in early December with tolling, where we had ODOT present some information, or is it pretty much the directive is tolling with the bulk majority of the time hearing from constituents?
Well, last time we had the ODOT officials come and be on that. I suggest we do the opposite this time and get a different point of view. There are many organizations out there who are in, for instance, opposition to tolling and have brought forth alternatives or solutions to what is being proposed. For instance, the Cascade Policy Institute is one, and maybe other people can come up with somebody else. And they have, you go on their site and they have all these white papers on congestion pricing and tolling and the effects, and maybe we can do it better. And, I would suggest something like that. And maybe, what we start out with, well, this is the decision. And let's talk about it. Let's have that type of discussion. It's up to you. Paul?
Yeah, it might be a good idea to discuss that with our transportation staff to get their input on that and make sure we put something together that is informative for us.
Got it. Commissioner Fischer.
Yeah, just along the lines of what Paul is saying, with the decision points we need to make and weigh in on, getting input on that, if that seems appropriate. Paul, I'm looking to you to, nod or not nod, because you know this best. But I would really like to see that. It's really engaging on what is right now and asking for our constituents to weigh in so that we make the best decision possible.
Okay, commissioners, let's move forward. We have a lot of business to do and only about 65 minutes left on this. We have some real heavy topics. So we'll move forward with the tolling and we'll massage it, nuance it as we go forward. Thank you very much for your decision on that. Gary, what's up next?
Great, thank you. Thank you, Dylan. Quickly going back to the consent agenda for the Sheriff's Office, the delegating authority to me to sign that U.S. Department of Justice grant. The actual grant amount is $250,000, not $25,000. I apologize. All you're doing is allowing me to go into the grants, the U.S. government database to accept the grant. That's all you're allowing me to do. I'm not doing anything else. But I want to clarify the number. Sorry about that, commissioners.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, next, I'm flipping the order on the agenda. We're skipping ahead to the equal pay analysis update. Shannon, would you please bring in, are you ready? Andrew Naris, Heather Pedersen, Evelyn Minor Lawrence, Heidi Mason. So Andrew, Heather, Evelyn, Heidi Mason. Wait just a moment, please, commissioners. All right. right. Wait for everyone to get their cameras on. Okay, almost. Waiting for Heidi here. 1 second, please. Okay, very good. All right, commissioners. Equal pay analysis. This has been a long time coming. We are here to provide you final staff recommendations on how we are implementing the Equal Pay Act that the state legislature implemented back in 2017. We have the team from Human Resources and County Council here that will give you a quick recap of where we're at. And then there's an ask for you today. Evelyn Miner-Lawrence is the Director of Human Resources. Heather Pedersen is the Classification and Compensation Manager in Human Resources. Andrew Naris is Assistant County Counsel. Heidi Mason is one of our contractors that worked on this for us. So I'm going to start as Heather, are you starting with the team? Go ahead, please.
Thank you, and good morning, Chair and Commissioners. As you know, the HR staff has been working with outside experts, including Heidi, to review the county's pay practices and provide recommendations to align them with Oregon's Equal Pay Act. We have conducted an extensive equal pay analysis to review the compensation systems used across the organization and to develop a new compensation model for the entire county. This work has involved a comprehensive review of all county classifications at the job level and the review of about 2,400 individual employees' compensation. As a result of this work, we are finally recommending salary adjustments for approximately 660 employees to ensure that their compensation is in line with this new compensation model, which is based on established bona fide factors in the county's compensation philosophy moving forward. The employee pay analysis was completed at the end of December 2021. So we are recommending an effective date of 1/1/22, January 1st of this year. Gary, do you want me to continue on with the cost? Okay, excellent.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so with an effective date of 1/1/2022, that is half of the fiscal year 21-22 with an approximate cost of $1,461,163. That is base pay and roll-ups. So that would be the cost for fiscal year 21-22. And then rolling into fiscal year 22-23, the approximate cost is $3,053,831. And so today we are looking for your approval for HR to proceed with implementing the recommended salary adjustments for those employees that have been identified with an effective date of January 1, 2022.
Commissioners, do we have any comments or questions for the presenter today? Mr.
Chair, yeah, Chair, I just want to thank our staff and acknowledge their hard work on this. We've been at this a long time, and I really appreciate everything you've done. I acknowledge and understand and the spirit of the legislation, and I think we've done a good job of getting in front of that. And granted, I don't think that we satisfied all the concerns maybe that each of us have raised, including myself to some degree, but there's no way of getting this perfect. I think it's more imperative that we move swiftly to make sure that that is taken care of, so we don't get out of compliance by not acting. So I'm willing to support this today, as recommended by staff.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Any other commissioner? Commissioner Fischer, do I see your hand up? No. Commissioner Scholl?
I agree with Paul. I'm ready to make a decision on this today.
Yes, and I believe we have been instructed by our county council and the Human Resources Department that we must make a decision either way to be in compliance. I too support the work of our county employees and have said so many times. And I believe this board has acted favorably toward our county employees in awarding them not only the equal pay adjustments that will be made, but also essential employee pay from ARFA funds, and we are in current bargaining negotiations with the unions. And I think that our employees have been acknowledged for the good work that they do, and that we're sending messages that we like you and we want to keep you. And any other comments on that? Gary, do we entertain a motion?
Yes, please, Chair, a motion to approve the implementation of the pay as of January 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Commissioner Schrader has moved that we
Second.
Second.
equal pay. Yeah, Paul, you're second. Any other comments? Seeing none, Shannon, can you take the poll, please?
Commissioner Stoll,
Aye.
Commissioner Fischer,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, commissioners. There's been a lot of work done on this. We've had many discussions and none of this is easy, but thank you very, very much for your vote on this today. Gary.
Thank you. And quickly, I do want to recognize our staff who worked on this, Evelyn Minor Lawrence, and especially Heather Pedersen. 4 years, Heather and her team have worked on this. And Heather, thank you so much for your diligence, your professionalism, your patience as things have evolved and all the many twists and turns this have taken. Thank you, Heather, very, very much. Bravo. All right. Thank you, commissioners. Next, we have the Equity and Inclusion Office Annual Report. Shannon, would you please bring in Martine, Maria, and Cece? We'll wait just a moment, please, for them to come in the room. Right, so I'll introduce you just a second here. Once everyone's here. There's Martine, there's Cece, waiting for Maria. Okay, well, let's get started. Oh, there's she. No, all right, let's get started. So commissioners, this is the county's Equity and Inclusion Office Annual Report. I'm so proud of our staff. The office has been in open now almost 2 years, actually. That's right, it's over 1.5 years. Martine Koblenz is the county's Equity and Inclusion Officer. Maria Magion and Cece Leonard are the other two members of the Equity and Inclusion Office team. There was an annual report that was in your packet. So with that, Martine, would you like to kick it off, please?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to start with Happy International Women's Day. I just realized that that's today. Yes. Good morning, Chair Smith, Commissioners, and Administrator Schmidt. My name is Martine Koblenz. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the County Equity and Inclusion Officer. I'll have Maria and Cece introduce themselves. Go ahead, Maria.
Good morning, everyone. Maria Magallon. My pronouns are ella, she, her, and I'm one of the program coordinators in our Office of Equity and Inclusion.
Hi, all. My name is Cece Leonard. I also use she, her pronouns, and I'm our other program coordinator.
Thank you for having us this morning to share with you the work of the Equity and Inclusion Office. So as you know, we were founded in August of 2020. And during our first year in office, the county was under 3 states of emergency: the pandemic, wildfires, ice storms. I see you nodding your head, so you feel what we felt. This brought a lot of challenges in getting ourselves established. And yet now in hindsight, we see that the timing of the inception of our office was a gift in a way, because it is in these times of duress and hardship where we can recognize where people lack access, where people face barriers, and groups that experience inequities. The first year helped shape our work and underlined why the work of equity, diversity, and inclusion is a vital part in making our communities thrive here in Clackamas County. The priorities we set and the goals we established are based on the feedback from employees and residents. And today we'll be sharing with you our internal and external goals with some highlights of our accomplishments so far. We're pleased to share this with you as it is critical that our work in our office is transparent, collaborative, and that we're accountable to the people we serve, residents and employees. In your packet is the annual report and our portfolio. The portfolio outlines our long-term projects, short-term projects, committees that we serve on, and some of our ongoing work. And just to note, our ongoing work really comprised of requests that we receive both from internal departments as well as from external organizations, cities, other jurisdictions. And we started tracking those requests as of July 1, 2021 until February last month, basically. And we see that on average, we have about 33 requests per month. So I wanted to share that number just so you can get a sense as well of, in terms of our ongoing work, the demand that currently exists at the county, where people are really seeking guidance and support on equity, diversity, and inclusion related work. So now we'll highlight some of the sections of the report. And I would like to just share screen as well, if I could have that ability, Shannon. And we're gonna, just so you have it, if you have it in front of you, the packet, we're gonna start on page 5. Okay, and can everyone see that okay? Great. Okay, so starting with our office, a little bit about us. Our vision is to uphold the standard of equity, diversity, inclusion, which is where people thrive, have a sense of safety, connection, and belonging, so that everyone is honored and celebrated for the richness and diversity they bring.
We also highlight our principles, which are courage, compassion, learning, gratitude, and connection. We define what each of these principles means, but don't have time to go into each one. You will notice, however, that they all build on each other. When we create brave spaces and a culture of learning, we understand that everyone's life experience matters because we're all part of this great community. And what matters most is how we show up when we make mistakes. More importantly, how do we work to reduce and repair the cycle of harm so we can continue to foster meaningful connections?
On page 6 is our mission. The Equity and Inclusion Office leads a culture of learning and awareness of equity and inclusion by guiding, supporting, and collaborating with employees and residents in order to foster welcoming communities and create greater connections where all people thrive and belong. So I'll now move to page 7, where we're going to talk about some of our equity, diversity, and inclusion goals and accomplishments. This first part is talking about our workforce EDI efforts. So when we think about our workforce, there are 2 things we want to accomplish. One is to create a culture of learning, and the second thing is to cultivate a sense of belonging. Bump over to page 9. When we started in our office, we were able to gather feedback from various places, which guided how we set these 4 internal priorities. And I will read them out loud. Implement countywide training on equity, diversity, and inclusion. Create a clear structure to address workplace concerns. Build more community and connection among employees. Review and update recruitment, retention, and hiring practices. And so we won't go deeply into each of these, but I do want to highlight a couple here. On page 11, we refer back to priority 1 about training. And so we have some notable achievements here. 198 of the approximately 250 managers and supervisors were trained in August through December. That number is closer to about 220 now. And then notice the quote at the bottom. A manager named a few highlights they appreciated about the training. And then bumping to page 12. This is going to refer back to our second priority about support for concerns that show up in the workplace. So our office is working closely with human resources, resolution services, and county council. We're working to develop a vision, goal, and work plan about how to address workplace issues and concerns so that employees know where to go, they feel heard, they have options to resolve conflicts, and they feel satisfied with the overall outcome. This work could not be done without the ongoing collaboration between all of these departments. So this is an excellent example of the ways equity, diversity, and inclusion are embedded into countywide work.
On page 15, we talk about our external EDI efforts for all of Clackamas County, our goals and accomplishments. When we think about the whole county, we have one main goal, and that is to create a welcoming environment for all of those who live, work, and play in Clackamas County. Some examples are the ongoing work with the Racial Research Justice Project, with the Coalition of Communities of Color, the creation of the Indigenous Task Force, which sponsored Indigenous Peoples Day event. We also co-hosted listening sessions with the Board of County Commissioners, and our office also staffs the Leaders for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Council, the volunteer-led council that is representative of our diverse communities within Clackamas County, and they serve as a resource for the county, the Board of County Commissioners, and also for the underserved communities. Moving over to page 16, highlights the role, my role as Equity Officer in the Emergency Operations Center, where we strategize on how to best reach the communities that are hardest hit by the pandemic and assure equitable response to the multiple emergencies that we've experienced, like the wildfires and the ice storm, on top of the pandemic. Also, incident command staff prioritize equitable access and assist with targeted outreach to these underserved populations, such as houseless individuals, the migrant seasonal farm workers, rural communities, and also other communities within those rural communities. We also prioritize culturally and linguistically appropriate guidance and messaging to ensure that everyone has access to factual and emergency information. I want to jump over to page 23, which highlights the town halls and the listening sessions in collaboration with the Board of County Commissioners. We heard from Dylan, and Chair Smith also emphasized the importance of hearing directly from community about what their specific needs are. How the saying goes, nothing about us without us. So we look forward to continuing to build meaningful community engagement together with the Board of County Commissioners, and also be thinking about what the future of community engagement looks like with communities that are limited English proficient and other communities who are of different cultures, just like we did when we hosted the listening session that we facilitated in Spanish. And Martine will wrap us up.
Yes, okay, so I stopped share there, sorry about that. So we didn't want to take too much of your time, but we wanted to highlight some items, and we hope that if you haven't had a chance already to read the document in its entirety, that you do so. And we just thank you again for your time today. We would be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and we're always open to answer questions in the future as well.
Thank you for this. This is quite a comprehensive document. I've been through it. It represents a lot of work. And I was just very proud of it. Wow, look at all this. Maria, you talk about speaking Spanish, and what a great equalizer. And when you're able to converse in a different language, it really breaks down a lot of barriers. And if you've ever traveled to a foreign country, as I have, Spanish-speaking country, and my Spanish is so rusty, but I traveled with a person who speaks fluent Spanish, and it was the best time I ever had. I have to say, it just really warmed my heart, and it just, these people blossomed and they come out, and even if you attempt to speak Spanish, like me, where I'm not fluent and I make mistakes all the time, they, it kind of, they understand that you're trying to, converse with them, and that goes a long way too. Commissioner Savas, your hand is up.
Yeah, I had a question, and thank you for the great work. Always insightful. We always learn from your good work, and I know we're always learning together as a community on topics like this. You know, it occurred to me with the crisis that's happening in Ukraine that as some of those folks are refugees and leaving their country, they're indigenous to that. Some of those folks, not all, are and probably most are indigenous to their land. So if a Ukrainian person who let's say immigrates here as a refugee to the United States or anywhere else, would we consider them indigenous? I know they're not indigenous to the United States or to Oregon or to our land, but we still consider them indigenous people.
So usually when we talk about indigenous, we're talking about indigenous to the land that we're on. Okay. And so if we were in Ukraine, then they would, if they consider themselves indigenous to that land, then yes. But in the context of the United States and Clackamas County, if someone came as a refugee, they would have the refugee experience and not be indigenous to this land. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I was just curious. Thank you for that explanation.
Good explanation. Any other comments for Martine and her team? Thank you very much for this hard work and continue to go forward and prosper.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Martine, me, Maria, and Cece for all you do. Next, Shannon, would you please bring in Mike Besner and Nate Boderman? And this is Commissioners, a request to schedule a public hearing for reducing the vehicle registration fee for trailers. But we'll wait one moment, please, for staff to come in.
Harry, you said Mike Besner and Nate Boderman?
Yeah, Mike and Nate.
Okay, thank you.
All right, welcome. Mike Besner is Assistant Director of Transportation and Development. Nate Boderman's Assistant County Counsel. This is a request to schedule a public hearing for reducing the vehicle registration fee for trailers. And there's a memo in your packet. Go ahead, please, Mike.
Okay, thanks. As you recall, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Since then, I've met with the Oregon DMV, and they said, all right, great, next step, you guys pass your ordinance. And then ODOT would get to work. The timeline to do this is not as quick as we would like, but we don't have a lot of control over DMV's process. They said if we can get this done quick, they could probably have everything done by January 1st. So that'll be my job to work on speeding that up as much as possible, but their process is their process. So first step is to bring this for an ordinance for a first reading and a public hearing, and we are here to get permission to do so from the board.
And what's our timeline on the first public hearing and then a second public hearing? Nate Boderman.
Well, once we have your blessing to move forward, we'll check with the board schedule and get this teed up as quickly as possible. But you know, first and second reading by law has to occur more than 13 days apart. So.
Okay. All right, good. Any other comments from commissioners on this? Are we okay moving forward with this? All righty, I think so. Thank you, Mike Besner.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Mike and Nate. All right, next, Commissioner Shull originally wanted to talk about the Vietnam War Memorial. Do you still want to do that today, Commissioner Shull?
I would like to talk about that, but the Vietnam War Memorial is important. But like I mentioned to you yesterday, the situation in Ukraine has presented a very urgent situation that I would like to talk about today and move the memorial issue to next week. Okay. Now with that, in the last 36 hours, the humanitarian crisis in the Ukraine has gone through the roof. As of last night, some 1.5 million plus refugees have left the Ukraine, with estimates that the refugee count could go to 5 million in the next 3 to 4 days. Yesterday, Oksana and I were asked to participate with a local Nazarene project to put together clothing and food to be sent to the refugees in the Ukraine. They have literally tons of material waiting to be shipped. There is an organization, a nonprofit, a local one that's worked with Clackamas County before. It's the Slavic Community Center of the Northwest. They are coordinating these efforts of literally hundreds of people working to take action, immediate action to relieve suffering in Ukraine. So I would ask my colleagues to join me today in moving some money from the county administrator's contingency fund to the Slavic Community Center of the Northwest to be used to facilitate aid relief to refugees in the Ukrainian crisis. And I'm ready to make a motion for some $7,500. That's what I recommend. That amount would be hugely helpful. I'm ready to make a motion on that whenever you like.
Thank you, Commissioner Shull. Let's have commissioners weigh in on this. Commissioner Fischer, you too feel a great need for this, as I do, and you were in contact with me as well. Would you like to make some additional statements?
Yeah, I was not aware of, the county utilizing the administrator's budget to deal with this. I'm not sure quite where I'm thinking about that. That's something that I'd like to consider, but I do think it's appropriate, and in conversations with Chair Smith over the weekend, of this board making a statement. And there's a model statement. Let me see, Chair Smith, I'm trying to find what I text you.
I could maybe read it. Maybe I could read it too.
Yes, that the city of Gresham provided, which we could ask our staff to make Clackamas County centric. But Chair Smith, if you've got it there, if you would like to read it,
I can do that. I think what the Gresham City Council said is, we stand in solidarity with the people of the Ukraine in the face of this abhorrent, unprovoked assault on their country, their independence, and their lives. The Gresham City Council asks our community members to join with us in expressing our support for Ukraine, for her people, and especially for our neighbors with Ukrainian roots who are deeply worried about the safety, health, and welfare of their loved ones right now. I think we all know one. We know someone. As we witness the growing tensions, destruction, and terror, we state unequivocally that we stand with the people of Ukraine at home and abroad. Love and peace are our Clackamas County values. And in this moment of darkness, we want to shine a light on our corner of the world for unity and hope. That is a very good statement. We could, wordsmith it in addition to Commissioner Shull's request. I think they are both compatible going forward. I think Commissioner Shull's monetary request is quite timely and maybe in urgent need. We have a couple other commissioners with their hands up, and then we can revisit this. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, I'm happy to support both the resolution or the statement and the monetary aid as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, I'm also happy to support both. The one change I would make, it's not, to my knowledge, I've had friends who've been to the Ukraine and lived there. It's not the Ukraine, it's Ukraine. Am I right, Commissioner Shull? Yeah. So I would take the out and just call Ukraine like, it's a country like Russia, Ukraine, but.
That's fine.
That's minor modification, I think.
And that statement does need to be tweaked, and we'll have many eyes look on that statement as well. Commissioner Fischer, is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think it's so important in moments of crisis. Our whole world is grieving this moment, and we need to acknowledge it. And then, Gary, the question for you regarding a financial contribution. I know we get many requests from many items, and we've kind of had a policy that we often give individually, which I know all of us do that. Is this something that is within the budget? We're always looking at making sure we're making best use of our resources.
Yes, so commissioners, I have within the county administration office I call it the administrator's contingency fund. It is approximately $400,000 of general funds. It's budgeted that I sit and hold for any request the board makes that is not budgeted in any other county department. I hold it very judiciously. I don't spend a penny of it until you direct me to. And if it's unspent, it's all returned to the general fund at the end of each year. So that's where the funding would come from if you authorize this. In general, in the past, you have not supported sponsor requests that come from nonprofits for dinners or fundraising events, but I would say this is a little different scenario. So I think certainly it's appropriate use of county funds if you so choose, and I would take it from the administrator's fund, which is for just such purposes like this.
Thank you for that, Gary. I'm in support of this, and Commissioner Scholl, I read that statement, and you can certainly weigh in on tweaking the statement with our county staff moving forward.
Thanks.
Do we have a motion and a vote on this, Gary?
I would recommend a motion to expend the funds, and then we can have a resolution draft for this Thursday's business meeting for you to take action on.
Okay, and will the resolution include the funding and the statement that I read?
Yes, we will edit the statement to make it county centric, but we could also say one of the whereases is you'll donate the $7,500. Yes.
Okay, and so I will entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Oh, well, Chair, would you like me to read it?
I'll read what's, yes.
The motion? The motion I would make is, I move that the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners approve $7,500 from the county administrator's contingency fund to donate to the nonprofit Slavic Community Center of the Northwest for use in aid to refugees from the besieged Ukraine.
Do I hear a second? Paul Savas is seconding. Commissioner Fischer, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Smith. I know that I've been helping in my work as a lawyer in trying to get people out of Ukraine and working with Senator Wyden's office. And there's a lot, this is affecting us here in Clackamas County. Commissioner Scholl, this is very open. Is it possible to have these funds dedicated to how this issue is affecting us here through the Slavic nonprofit community group?
It could be, but Commissioner Fischer, the need right now, the pressing need is for an organization like the Slavic Community Center of the Northwest, who's coordinating efforts from many different agencies to have some critically needed funds to make decisions on how best to alleviate the suffering that's happening in the Ukraine right now. And I would recommend that we leave that to the professionals. I've talked to the principal director there at that organization, Timur Holov, and he and his organization have their finger on what's going on, and they are in a position to make very timely decisions on how to use this money. And I recommend we let them do that.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to send $7,500 to the Slavic Community Center Northwest for the Ukraine situation abroad. And we will be also issuing a statement to be reviewed prior to the, I hope, Thursday business meeting and taken up in the Thursday business meeting. Commissioner Scholl has made the motion and Commissioner Savas has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Shannon, can you please take the poll?
Commissioner Fischer,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Chavez,
Aye.
Commissioner Scholl,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Commissioner Scholl, for bringing this forward. We're very much appreciative and we're very much compassionate and sympathetic to the situation abroad. Gary, what's up next?
Thank you. So next week, Commissioner Shaw, I'll add the Vietnam War Memorial to next week's issues for board discussion then. Thank you. Next, Commissioners, the Association of Oregon Counties is having 2 upcoming events. And I wanted to confirm if you wanted to attend because it does affect quorum for your upcoming meetings. The first is Tuesday, March 15th. It is the AOC Board of Directors Retreat, which 4 of the 5 of you are a member of the AOC Board of Directors. It is Tuesday, March 15th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Salem in person. It is a retreat for the board to have a visioning retreat for their strategic plan for upcoming goals for the organization for the next 3 to 5 years. If at least 3 of you wish to go, then we wouldn't have quorum for that Tuesday's sessions. So I wanted to confirm what your preference was.
Commissioner Schrader, your hand is up.
Yeah, I would like to express a desire to go because I'm actually President Murdoch would like to have me there. I'm working with them on revising bylaws, and that's kind of, I think, going to be part of an important discussion they're going to have that day, and I'm working on them. I'll have a meeting after this meeting is over with the County Solutions Group to help direct, what we're going to be looking at from that, which is kind of a big thing. So I would like to be able to go to that, if not for the full day, at least for part of the day. But I wanted to run that by everyone to see what they thought.
Okay, Commissioner Schrader seeks desires to attend that. Commissioners, I'm just going to remind you, our first duty as Clackamas County Commissioners is to attend our meetings and make decisions. One, I would recommend that we try to keep a quorum unless there is something I don't know about this AOC conference.
Well, we could do it virtually too. We won't be able to go into the breakout rooms, but if there's a way for me to just even listen in, or I could do that if you really would prefer.
No, I would not prefer a divided attention.
Okay, great. Okay.
What I'm saying is we need to be able to conduct our county business. And if we only have 3 commissioners here, we need to be in agreement. It is more important than all 5 being in agreement. We have 4 commissioners here. That is fine too. Gary, you said it was March 15th. Is there another date coming up as well?
Yes, so the second event is the Association of Oregon Counties will have their September meetings at the Pendleton Roundup in September, which would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, September 14, 15, 16. So again, if we don't have a quorum, we would have to postpone or cancel our business meeting and policy sessions for that week as well.
Well, let's address that particular one next summer. I think commissioners will have a better feel on what we want to do then and what's on the agenda and what we need to do. Commissioner Fischer, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you. I know this is hard because how our state is able to move forward as an association so impacts the work that we do in Clackamas County. And there are many issues that are so important moving forward into the future. I'm just wondering about just doing double duty, maybe participating virtually for our meeting or, well, in person there for our most important pieces, if we could organize the agenda and just
I'm willing to do that. You know, I'm going to recommend that Commissioner Schrader and Fischer attend the AOC March 15 in person. Okay. If you can Zoom in to us for a couple votes, fine. If not, I'm going to try to arrange the schedule that any of the real meaty, hefty stuff that takes a lot of participation in, we can either schedule it ahead of time or afterwards, or even do Wednesday for those. And just because we had a situation a couple weeks ago where I should have done that and I didn't realize that we're going to have 3 commissioners. So let's try to massage the agenda for you two to attend this, and we'll just schedule when we can schedule. How is that?
Okay, thank you for accommodating.
Oh, well, yeah, I do know that it's important. But
you're right.
Emily, oh, by the way, Emily has just sent me a text message for the Pendleton event. We need to make reservations as soon as possible so the board can decide. It would be helpful if we did that today. Okay, so I don't get to put it off. So who wants to address the September dates on that. Let me look at my phone. That was September what again, Gary?
14, 15, 16. It's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, September 14, 15, 16.
Okay, let's see now. Let's see a call of hands to do this. How different is this than the November event that we have in Eugene, where the board takes a whole week off?
Right. So the November event is the actual conference of the Association of Oregon Counties, the annual conference. The Pendleton Roundup is simply AOC is going to enjoy the Pendleton Roundup and have a few meetings between Roundup events. So it's more about going to support the Roundup and having some AOC meetings there.
Well, I do appreciate Commissioner George Murdoch coming from Pendleton and wants to celebrate his Roundup. I will probably stay here and try to conduct as many meetings as we can. I don't know what important business is going to be conducted during the Pendleton Roundup, but I understand how people want to celebrate that. And you know, we're a larger county than some of these other counties who can do this or push it off or do it earlier. We just really have a lot of business that needs to be conducted. So commissioners, I'm going to let you weigh in on what you think you want to do in the September meeting. Commissioner Savas?
Yeah, my question is this summer or September event in lieu of the summer AOC event that we typically have?
Usually.
Okay. So my question is to Commissioner Smith's point, is there will be AOC business being done there? That's my question.
Yeah.
There will be AOC meetings, yes.
And then there's also the summer event for NACO, which is in July, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to make a call on which one. So I'm inclined to do the summer event for NACO. And I'd certainly like to know what's on the agenda for the AOC. If I can do that in September, great. If there's something of substance there, but I want to make sure that there's value to our citizens for us attending either of those events, frankly. So.
Okay, let's get some, we have other comments, I'm sure. Let's try to get some more information on what's happening in September for that. Martha, your hand is up.
Yeah, I'd be willing. To me, the more important one is the one where they're doing strategic planning. So I'd be willing to forego September because I do need to be at the October NACO meeting. That's when Denise Winfrey is going to take over the presidency, and there's a possibility I'm in line for the chairmanship of a committee. And in order for me to bring that home to this county, I'll probably have to go to that one. So.
Okay, so I understand our desire to serve on all of these committees and travel with this. So maybe Commissioner Schrader, you might have to be making some decisions on which ones you want to do. And keep in mind, commissioners, I have not attended any of this.
You should be coming to the NACO
well,
Chair.
Martha, we got to have a quorum. I've got to conduct business. I've got to carry this on. My county cannot stop because of national conventions or statewide conventions. And I would like to participate in some of the leadership training. However, I have given deference to my commissioners who want to do this. So I'm not able to attend. I'm not able to attend. Unless we just shut down business in Clackamas County for a week.
Or there are times we could potentially go to, like if people wanted to go to the Pendleton Roundup, we could, I'm just gonna throw this out for Gary, which I don't want to give you a headache. We could do meetings there. We could just go arrange to have a public meeting on Zoom and go for it. Well, I don't know, Gary, you're smiling at me.
I will do whatever the board directs me.
All right, okay.
The public of Clackamas County is kind of hard to ask them to go to Pendleton to watch.
I know. We'd have to do it all virtually and it'd have to be watched.
Let's, I'm going to recommend commissioners for the March 15th, Schrader and Fischer go. If you can zoom back, let us know. The September in Pendleton, let's get an idea of what the agenda is and how many commissioners want to go. And And commissioners, just let Gary or Emily or whomever's scheduling this, let us know what your desires are, and we'll try to figure it out. I can't make a decision on that today for any of us. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, good enough. Gary, what's next?
Okay, very good. Thank you, commissioners. Next, so we had on the schedule return to in-person meetings with Commissioners Schrader and Savas, but I think first, Chair Smith, if you'd like to announce what your plans are for returning in person, and then Commissioner Schrader and Savas can comment.
Thank you, commissioners. As you know, I have always planned on returning to in-person meetings. We've had 3 business meetings, 2 at night and 1 in the day, where it's been somewhat problematic, where security and safety issues were a big concern. And so after the January 13th meeting, I says, okay, we need to regroup and rethink how we're conducting our meetings. And we decided that we needed a full security check, and we need probably to implement some security measures, not just for commissioners, but for staff and the public as well, to ensure safety. And since these buildings were built in 2005 and 7, I think that's the date, correct me if I'm wrong, back then we didn't do security. We didn't have situations where it needed to be done. Many buildings across our state and across our nation have implemented full security measures. We know it's being done at the courthouse. We know other boards of county commissioners have already done it, and we're kind of behind the times here. So we have been briefed with a full security measure. Also in light, Governor Brown has lowered the mask mandate this March 12th. So I'm recommending that next week we return to in-person meetings with all of our meetings, our executive session, our policy sessions, our issues, and our business meeting. And with that in mind, some of these security measures will be in place, but not all of them yet, because it takes time, and it took quite a long analysis with security folks. I do think it's a very positive step that we're taking. I look forward to all of our commissioners being present. I think we want to come back. From what I've heard from my commissioners, we want to come back and be in person. It's a process that I dearly miss. I love being able to talk to people in person, see them in person, and I enjoy their company. We will still have a hybrid available on Zoom for people to call in for the public. However, in any business with commissioners, any presentations from the board of directors or contractors will be made in person. So commissioners, I would like to hear your comments on this. Okay. Oh, your hand is up?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, sounds like it's good news. In alignment with where at least I was wanting to go, and that was what I wanted to say. I'll just say it as that you know, since well past January 13th, the governor made some announcements that the mask mandate would be lifted at different time and dates, or different dates in March. And on March 24th, probably the most recent announcement, I believe, or one of the more, I moved it up to where it is, I believe today, and that is March 12th, which is nice. But it was it was February 24th. I'm sorry. So February 24th was the last announcement I think the governor made, and it was the same day that the administrator made an announcement that we would be continuing. So it was confusing to me. And Chair, you were absent last week. Hope you had a nice trip. All good, but we didn't have a chance to raise it till today. So I wanted to make sure the chair and everyone was in attendance when I brought this up. So it's good to know that we're all getting to the same place, and look forward to moving, or not moving, but meeting in person next week. Thank you.
Well, it sounds like Commissioner Savas, we're on the same page. I see head nods from my other commissioners. You know, it's always, I think, here in Clackamas County, we appreciate our people coming forward, and in light of transparency, it's the best we can do. Any other comments for commissioners? Commissioner Shaw, your hand is up.
Yeah, I just want to say, the day the masks come off and the day that people come in person is going to be a glorious day. Look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll have to celebrate something here.
Yeah, let's all pray we don't need them again anytime soon.
That's right.
I'm praying.
Absolutely. Thank you, commissioners, for accommodating all the needs for everybody. I appreciate you all very much and your participation in this. Gary, what's up next?
Thank you, Chair. Your business meeting agenda for this Thursday, March 10th, 2022 at 10 a.m. You'll have all the consent agenda items you discussed today. We'll have the resolution for you on the Ukraine. And then you do have a board discussion item on initiating the formation of the Water and Sanitary Authority for Oak Lodge. So that is on your agenda this Thursday. It's not a public hearing yet. This is the next step, which is a board discussion item before you hold your first public hearing. So a reminder that's on your agenda for this week. Final item today, Chair, is Commissioner Communications.
Oh, great. Okay, who wants to go first? Commissioner Scholl, your hand is up.
Yes, good morning. Last night, we had the Sunnyside CPO meeting. Commissioner Savas was on there also. Mike Sabula, the CPO president, ran a great meeting. One of the highlights was a talk from the Happy Valley Mayor, Tom Ellis, who talked about the North Carver Happy Valley Comprehensive Plan. And for people out there who live in that area, that's 2,700 acres or thereabouts that the city's looking at for actually building a city from scratch. There's going to be a lot of growth in that area. And the people who live out that way in the Damascus area, North Carver, need to be keeping up on the developments of this comprehensive plan. You're going to find it most interesting. And at the same time, you know, the state legislature has funded the study for the Sunrise Corridor. So that's going on at the same time. So there's a lot going on out there, and I urge folks that live in that area to get involved and take part in this great comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Scholl. Mr. Fischer?
We covered all my topics today.
Great. Thank you. Commissioner Schrader?
Yeah, I'll be attending the Community Solutions meeting this afternoon of the Association of Oregon Counties. And it should be a good conversation. We're still working on housing issues, and it'll be a good thing. And then tomorrow, Oregon City Chamber State of the Community is going to be happening. Let's see, on Lynn Avenue in Oregon City, the Robert Lidke Public Safety Building, and it's going to be interesting to go there. I'll be sitting at the table with Water and Environment Services. So looking forward to that. Okay.
Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, not much to add. Been attending a lot of meetings related to the Oak Lodge and Gladstone libraries and the Concord project and the NCPRD aspects. There's a NCPRD meeting, I believe, tomorrow night. A lot of energy around all these topics. The other thing is that last Thursday we had our C4 meeting. Had a great meeting. We've been wanting to talk about what our agenda was going to be for the rest of the year. And that conversation ideally would have occurred either late last year or early this year, but we've been consumed with I-205. So it's really pushed that off. So we finally had that discussion. I will say there's a lot of, energy around both transit and housing services, sheltering and all that. So great discussions that are really, really timely. And we're hoping to work with our cities possibly to, ideally together, to where you can look at sheltering options. It kind of falls in line with our discussion last week. I really think that needs more effort. Frankly, if you consider the impacts to rural areas and being able to serve folks in the rural areas that may be also homeless or experiencing homelessness, there were some comments and concerns from both the rural mayors and also from cities that abut those rural areas as well. So we could get into more detail at another time, but I'll just say it was a good conversation. There's, again, a lot of good energy amongst the mayors and the members around C4, the districts. and seem to have a lot of collaboration. So just really, really happy with the progress of the group so far.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Martha Schrader and I have our virtual Washington DC visits this week. You had some on yesterday, is that right? I had one with our Congressman, Representative Kurt Schrader, regarding what's important for Clackamas County. I think he's in fully alignment with us on that. It looks like, keep your fingers crossed, the 6.2 million remainder to fix the Willamette Falls locks could be a real possibility. Everybody we talk to says, yeah, it's probably going to be done this week. Let's hope so. We can move forward to fully repair the Willamette Falls locks. And Martha Schrader was so generous in helping me get appointed to the State Commission to do that. And we have yet to meet on that. And I'm kind of frustrated because we're reaching out, trying to find out from the state what's going on with that. But I had an interesting tour hosted by Portland General Electric for their power plant down there several weeks ago. And I related to Representative Schrader the economic aspect of the locks being open. And it really, I think, solidified for him that, yes, this is the right thing to do to get that additional allocation, because he does promote and hold high economic development. And there's a paper mill down there and Portland General Electric. And I assured him that both of those activities would be working together, one not to the detriment of the other. And he was very assured of that. So we will continue in our meetings this week and next week with our federal delegation hosted by our partners in Washington, D.C., Summit Strategies. And I always appreciate them helping us move forward for our county agenda. Anything else for the good of the order?
Yep, good work today.
Thank you, commissioners. We did a lot of work. I'm very appreciative of us coming together. With that in mind, this meeting will be adjourned.